Well, Sunday afternoon now. Been a slow start getting started on this morning. Long week, worked yesterday, absolutely dragging butt last night, so slept in some this morning, and then just having a hard time getting started. It's been a long week. I'm not going to lie. Been a very frustrating week. We're having computer problems in the house. Pat's in there working on it now. We're trying to get part one. We're going to end up calling it part one of this week. Loaded so that I can drop video whenever she gets it done. That's her thing, not mine. My job is out here in the garage. So, but let me get you up to speed on what's happened this week. We'll end up doing more in the next series because we're going to do something different today. I really wanted to be putting everything back together today, but you hadn't seen the video of this week, so I'm just going to give you a real quick synopsis. We couldn't get the car started. I spent all week trying this, trying that, bypass this, bypass that, apply power here, apply ground there, and nothing would happen. At best, the starter would click. You saw we replaced the starter, we jumped battery wires, we replaced master switches, we replaced solenoids, we replaced wiring, and nothing worked. So I pulled the front of the motor down, pulled the front pulleys off. I was going to replace the belts anyway. I had to do that. I started into it. You'll see in the last video, or the previous video, that I started taking the belts off and ended up having problems. I had the wrong size belts. I had to take the belts back. When I crossed the belt number over, it came up to two different belts, two different sizes. And of course, my gut says the shorter one, and that was the wrong answer. I needed a longer one. So anyway, but when I went to turn the motor over manually, I knew the motor ran. I knew it wasn't locked up because when I got the car, we started it. I heard it run. I knew everything was good. When I went to put it together, now that it's been sitting for months, we've been putting everything back together on it. I go to start it, it won't start. So I put a crankshaft adapter on the front, put a big pull bar on it, and it was locked up. It wouldn't turn. Nothing. I tried and tried. I pulled and pulled and pulled. Nothing would happen. And I rocked it back the opposite way in frustration, and I heard a click, meaning something let go. So I went in and pulled on it again, and the motor spun. Then I took it off, and I put a small ratchet on it, and I spun the motor over by hand. So I told you the motor is good. That means something was holding it up. So light bulb went off in the head. You know how that happened. Boo! Okay. So I said something in the bell housing. Well, then I started doing some research, and there's an idler gear in the bell housing, and I explained all this in the last video, but I'm getting you caught up now. There's an idler gear. The starter is mounted on the back of the motor. It spins the same direction as the crankshaft when mounted in forward location. By spinning it around backwards and putting it on the back of the bell housing, there now has to be an idler gear to offset the reverse rotation. So in that, here's the idler gear. Let me get you flipped around here. And this is a very simplified version of this, but I'm just getting you caught up to speed for now, like that. Hey y'all, so anyway, this is the back side of the bell housing. Once we got it off, I was able to flip it around. We know we have a crack here. I saw that when I got it off. I thought, well, that's going to have to be re-welded anyway. But this is the idler gear setup. We've got a shaft that runs through to the other side. This is where the starter sits, and it spins a gear down here, which contacts this gear, which turns the flywheel. So we get it off. We know about this. I see this over here. And I said, well, everything looks like it's working the way it's supposed to. It spins. But I took it apart, and there is a bronze bushing in here, right there. And then I saw the bronze bushing, and it rides on this shaft, so it's got a little bit of wobble to it. That's not good. Then I look down here now that it's cleaned, and you can see where the thrust washer that rides in here is not there. And the bronze bushing right here has been rubbing against it. And also, and you look at these teeth, I don't know if you can see them right there, not if the camera's picking it up. You see where the teeth have been rubbing right here and then along here, which means this thing's been wobbling in here and moving around and probably getting bound up. Okay, so we know we got some worn parts in here. And this is considered to be a known problem in these. That bronze bushing wears. Okay, so that's a good start. So meanwhile, when the machine shop had it and they were cleaning, he called me and said, "Hey," he says, "I got this thing cleaned up." He said, "You got some cracks in it." And I said, "Yeah." I said, "I knew about the big one over here." He goes, "No." He said, "You've got more." He said, "You've got several cracks in here." And I said, "Really?" He goes, "You have somebody that can weld it up?" And I said, "Yeah, I got a guy that can do that." So I don't know if you can see, we have the big one right here, but then we have one starting right in here. So got a crack there. And you come around to the top of the bell housing. This is where the power steering sits and the belt that runs down and around. There is a crack, starts here and comes around, and then this is where the starter sits, and there's a crack all along here. Okay, so we've got multiple cracks now. Now we have multiple cracks, we have worn parts, so I jump on SRI's website out of Mooresville, and I go ahead and get another bushing for here, we get another backing plate, we get another pin to go into it. I got a couple of thrust washers in here. I just went in and ordered the parts that was needed. They were cheap. Don't have a whole lot tied up into it. And instead of putting bolts in right here to hold the starter, we're going to put studs in their place so that we're not stressing the threads and pulling on the threads. At least that's the plan anyway. So we got that. So we're in a holding pattern right now. Danny is going to come over sometime today and pick this up. He knows a couple of guys who can aluminum TIG weld. I had a aluminum spool gun back several years ago that I got with my big snap-on welder, and when I sold the welder, I sold the spool gun with it. I probably should have kept it, but I never used it. So he's going to come over and get this so we can get these fixed and get this put back together. Meanwhile, I've still got the spring that goes in here and thrust washers, which I've got thrust washers here. I took to work and I found some thrust washers at work that I can put inside here. So if they don't show up in time, I can reuse that. Then I can stretch this spring, make it a little springier, and get that put in here as well. So we're on hold with this for now. So I'm going to show you what else we have going on today. Y'all sit tight. If you remember a couple of videos back, I had made mention that we had some pretty exciting things coming. I have some new projects coming, stuff for the race car. Well, I may not have said that, but I got some pretty exciting things in the works. At least they're exciting to me anyway, and they will help with the setup process with the race car. If you're familiar with racing at all, you know about the Hammond setup plates. This is plates that bolt onto the hubs of the race car. There's 4 of them. They go all the way around so that you can set your alignment. You can check for toe in. You can watch suspension travel. You can measure it. But essentially they bolt onto the hubs. Check your wheelbase. Check your toe in, toe out. Check for rear end toe. You can check for square. You can check for bent suspension rods and such like that. You can set bump steer with them if you know what you're doing. So Hammond plates are really, really nice, but they're expensive. I think they're upwards of $600 to $700 a set. And I think they would be super, super beneficial, but they're not my budget. I don't have near the budget for them. So, nowhere even close. I couldn't even put a down payment on them right now. But what I did do is I have a customer at work who has a machine shop, a metalworking and machine shop. And so I showed them a picture of what I was looking for and asked them if they could do it. And they said, absolutely, we can cut those out of plate steel for you. And he says, we'll hook you up on price. And he says, I need very specific measurements of what you need, what you want, and what it's going to take to do. He said, we can do it. And I said, okay. So he gave me cardboard to make a template out of. So I drew everything out on cardboard. I put all my measurements down on the cardboard. And there were a couple places I gave him some, I'm going to call it artist liberties. You'll see here in just a minute what I'm talking about. Which I think is pretty cool in itself. But it's the base plates. Now I've still got some work to do myself. I've still got to finish drilling out like the stud holes. They cut them on their plasma table. They did all the cutouts on it. I've still got to do some finish work on it, which I am totally okay with. I do have to put a flat base on them so I can put some roller wheels, and that's what we're going to do today. Is we're going to finish drilling these holes out. We're going to put the flat base on them. I've got to see if I've got tabs over here to weld on here, and if I've got enough, I'll have a bolt size for measurements, and I can get some bearings ordered for rollers. And again, you'll see all that here directly. But here's what they look like on the car. I just have them slid up here for now so that you can see it and get an idea of what they look like and what we're going to do with them. So sit tight. Let me get the camera turned around here. Okay, this is on the left front wheel. This is the plate that we're talking about here, where they'll slide up on these on the wheel studs here, here, and here. There'll be a flat base that goes on here with a couple of small rollers on it, but we've got a center line here so we can check wheelbase on the car all the way around. We've got notches front and back for the so we can check toe in, and we've got 4 of these plates, so each wheel will get one, and we'll be able to get all of our measurements off of that. It's cut out of 3/8 steel plate, so it's super thick, sturdy, and so that's what we're going to do today. Is we're going to work on these and get these ready. Since we're waiting on parts for everything else, we're going to work on these. So we got to finish. Like I said, we're going to drill these holes out. I just got to clearance drill them. They're all here. They just got to be drilled for clearance. So let's get these done, and we'll go to the next step. Okay, so we got the base strips cut. They're 1/4 inch thick. Yeah, they're 1/4 inch thick. They're as long as the plates are. They're 28 inches, which is roughly the same diameter as our tires end to end. Laid against them, they're roughly 28 inches off. And what I've tried to do with this is I have tried to mimic with these roughly the size of the tire so that when I go to check something, I'm checking roughly the physical size. I'm not checking the offset of the width, but if the tire circumference, when you measure straight across it, is roughly 28 inches. And and all of them will be the same, so it should be mimicking the tire. So when we go to check toe, it should be mimicking the actual tire when mounted on the car. So let me get you flipped around here. The other thing I did is I went looking to see for tabs to weld to the bottom for the rollers. I don't have enough. I got to order some. Go figure. Which I got to order bearings anyway. Let me see if I had any over here. I do not. So it looks like we'll get as far as getting these plates, getting the bottoms welded onto the plates, and getting them good and cleaned up. And then I'll jump on the interwebs and get some tabs coming and some bearings so that I can get those made, that I can get these things. We've got to drill the holes, open the holes up, not drill. Open the holes up, clearance the holes to fit on the hubs. That's the other thing we've got to do today. I probably ought to do that before I weld these tabs on. Before I weld not the tabs, what am I saying? The base, the strip metal on the base. I probably need to get these holes drilled before I do that. So let me get the drill press set up, and we'll see if we can drill some holes real quick before we start laying these out. So let's check on that and see what we got going on here. Hey y'all, I have totally lost track of time. Now let me just say, I don't know what alloy these steel plates are made of, but I have never in my life had to work as hard to drill 12 holes as I have today. I have spent the last, 4 or 5 hours. I don't remember exactly when I asked. 4 or 5 hours drilling holes. This is some kind of crazy alloy like I've never used before. I've never seen. I think I've killed 2 brand new drill bits in the process. The last hole was just it really was not happy with it, but it is what it is. So anyway, let me flip you around here. Okay, so here's two of the plates. You see there's 1, 2 up on here, so you can see kind of how they'll sit on here. Yeah, but they fit very nicely. So let me get you over to the table and I'll show you what the next step is. Alright y'all, so the next step is going to be to set the plates on this flat bar here and weld them up. Weld them at a 90-degree angle, and you just center it up on both sides and square it, and then we'll get those welded up, and then we'll have tabs to put our wheels on the bottom. So it's not going to happen tonight, but that'll be the next step. So let's see here. So I'm going to have to go through, and these holes like here and here and here, I need to go through and clean them up, chamfer them, clean the oil off the plates because I had to oil the crap out of them to get them to drill. So I'm going to have to chamfer them, clean them, set them on these on this flat bar, square them, level them, center them, level them, 90, square them up, blah 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 blah. You know what I'm talking about, and so I get them welded up. It's not going to happen tonight though, because it is what time is it? It's almost 7:30. I probably should have stopped like 2 hours ago, so I go make supper, but you get wrapped up in something and you kind of lose track of time. So I'm going to wrap it up for the night, But it took longer, but we got a huge step done in the process today, getting these things drilled so that they're ready to go on there. So, but y'all have a great evening. I'll hit you up. This week when I got to get some tabs ordered, get some bearings ordered, so I can get them coming. But y'all have a great week, and I will catch you on the flip side. And we'll go to the next step on this deal. Thank you very much, and I'll talk to y'all later. Hey y'all, welcome back to the garage on this Tuesday evening. By the way, happy Cinco de Mayo. I hope everybody's eating tacos tonight. Tacos with chips and salsa, or burrito, or cerveza, or tequila, or whatever your choice is on Cinco de Mayo. But just remember, you got to get up for work in the morning. Anyway. Welcome back to the garage. Kind of an unusual to be out here tonight, but I thought, well, I had some parts come in, and I thought, let's get a jump on this. Let's see if we can get a start on it anyway. This way we can maybe try to get something done this week. I'm going to be out of town this coming weekend. So for Pat's college graduation, yes, she is graduating college with a college degree. Woo! Yay her. So anyway, we've got to go out of town this weekend for college graduation. So I thought, well, what better time for me to try to get something done than to come out here tonight and try to get a jump on it. So if you remember, this past weekend we started a new project while we're waiting on parts for the bell housing, to come back, and waiting on parts and whatnot. We got the setup plates from the machine shop that cut them out for me. So what we're going to do in the meantime is we're going to put the bottoms on these, and then if we've got time tonight, we're going to put the I got rollers and tabs in today to put these on. So what we're going to do is we're going to start setting these up and welding them up. So I'm going to bring you guys along for the ride. I've got it mocked up now. Let me get turned around here. So let me get turned around here and show you guys what we got going on here. Okay, so what we got, this is the plate that we drilled the holes into this weekend. We got our holes ground out here so that they're got the burrs off of them. And what I've done is I did some math and some preparation today, and I know that this is 3/8 of an inch. This lip down here is 1.5 inches. So with a little math and a little ciphering and figuring, I figured that I need 9/16 of an inch space underneath it for this to sit in the middle, so that I'll have 9/16 on either side away from this. So I've got me a couple of 9/16 bolts. I got 3 of them set up in here, spacing this up, and then I've got our flat bar here. It's 1.5 inches by 1/4, and I've got it angled, and you see I've got my angles here to keep it square, and then I've got obviously here on both sides of it as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to put some tack welds on the ends, and then once they're up and good, we'll stand it up. We'll put a couple of short stitches on it. I don't want to throw too much heat to it and warp it or pull it around, because I really want to keep this square. So I'm going to set you up here on the table and get started on this. Like I said, we're going to put tacks on either end. Once we know the tacks are good, I'll probably end up putting another tack on each end of it, just to kind of make sure that it doesn't move. Then we'll flip it around. We'll do the same thing to the other side. Once we're happy with it, we're just going to put, like I said, just a couple of short stitches. I'll probably put a stitch, probably come off the end, do a short stitch. We'll do a short stitch here, probably one in the middle, and then the same thing just here, and on the end, and the same thing on the other side. But what I'll do is I will rotate back and forth. That's what we're doing. This way we can keep our heat distribution even, and we don't warp it or pull it one way or another. So anyway, let's get the camera set up, get the welding helmet on, and let's get this one started and burned in, and we'll move on to the next one. So y'all sit tight. Let me get y'all set up. Alright y'all, this first one is done. I'll flip the camera around so that you can see the stitches. Like I said, they're just little short stitches. It's the whole idea is I don't want to throw a lot of heat to this so it warps and distorts, because then that'll throw accuracy off. So let me get y'all flipped around here. Okay, So here we are. You see, we just got the ends welded. And by the way, I did grind an angle on the ends, so when I tacked them, it went up in there, and then I was able to weld them across. But here's your stitch, 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 so on and so on. And then the same thing on this side, just across here. Stitch in the middle. Well, it's just a little short, but you get the picture though. Yeah. So, all right. So I've got 3 more of these to do now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set you up on time lapse over here, so you can kind of see what I got going on, and I'll do the other 3, and then see where we stand as far as getting the rest of it done. So y'all sit tight. Let's get some of this done. All right, y'all. That's all 4 of the bases welded up. Hopefully, y'all caught what I was doing in the midst of all that. So anyway, we got a package from Amazon. Let's go ahead and open it up and see what we got here. Well, we have tabs. Let's open them up here. Nice little box, by the way, for these tabs. Basically, that's all they are. It's just 1/4-inch tabs, and then we have bearings over here that go. Let's see, where's my hardware? Somewhere right here. Okay. And the way this is going to work is this bearing. Ooh, that bearing is too small. Well, crap. Okay. Because the idea was we're going to put a bolt in here, but okay. Houston, we have a problem. I didn't know how wide these were. They didn't give real good measurements on here. So, we're going to have to do something different. I like these, and the idea is these will go here and here, and they'll go on the bottom of those so that they can roll back and forth. But that right there, I don't know if you can see that. That bearing's not touching anything, so that ain't going to work. All right, so we're going to have to do something different. Let me do some ciphering, and we'll come back to this. All right, y'all. Let me pull this up here. That's what I thought I was getting. You see how small that is compared to those. And even that is a little tight up on top. So I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to cut these down to this size and to make so that they'll work with these bearings. That's not going to happen tonight because it's a little after 8 o'clock and I ain't had supper yet. So I'm going to kind of play around with these for just a minute because I've got some tabs of different sizes here that I've messed with and played around with that I think would work really nicely. Yeah, I think that would work right. Okay. Let me do a little ciphering. I'm probably going to call it a night and go in and fix some supper. It is Cinco de Mayo, so we got to go have some tacos or burritos or something. I've got some fajita meat inside, so I've got to go get into that. But I'm probably going to end up cutting these big tabs down to make these fit, unless I can jump on Amazon and find something else that I like better that I can work with these. So let me see what I can come up with. Like I said, I'm going to call it a night. I'll have to do some research. I'll hit you guys up another day or so once I kind of figure out what I'm going to do. So I'll catch y'all on the flip side. Thanks again for watching. Good afternoon, y'all. Welcome back to the garage. On a Tuesday afternoon, I've had to get my day straight. I just got back from out of town for the weekend. Pat, my girlfriend, her college graduation was this weekend. She walked the aisle with BCTC, Bluegrass Community Technical College, I think's what it is. It's BCTC, Lexington, Kentucky. Anyway, we went up there for the weekend. Spent Mother's Day with her stepmom and the wonderful lady that she calls mom. So we went up and spent the weekend with them, and then yesterday she walked the aisle for her college graduation. Huge, momentous occasion. So needless to say, I haven't been in the garage since last week, since we last talked, which was probably last Tuesday or Wednesday. We're working on the setup plates, and I got them clean, and I got the bases all welded onto them. So today, I've actually been out here for just a little while, and I've been cutting tabs to go on these for the roller wheels. Some of them I got a little aggressive with the cuts, so I'm gonna have to go back and fix those, and they all still need to be cleaned up yet. But let's at least get them on there, get them welded up, get them on, because I think another backstory. So old buddy Danny took the bell housing to a local welder machine shop that he knew, and they're racers. And they said, yeah, we can weld it, no problem. We can just give us a day or two and we can get it done. Okay. Well, a week later, it's still not done. So he went up there today, and it was still sitting in the same place that he left it last week. So he grabbed it and he says, guys, don't worry about it. I'll go find somebody else. So he has another buddy of his that is a certified welder. So he took the bell housing to him today, and it's supposed to be ready tomorrow. So we'll see. So needless to say, I'm trying to get these done so that when the bell housing gets back, we can jump on it. So what we're going to do is we're just going to keep on with these. We'll get these. I got tabs welded on one of them already. I went in and gave it a trial run just to make sure that it was going to work the way I wanted it to, and it does. So I'm going to get these tabs put on, and so I'm going to set you guys up on time lapse so y'all can watch the arcing and barking if you want to. So y'all sit tight. Let me get you flipped around here, put you on time lapse, and you can watch from the other side. So y'all sit tight. What we're going to do is we're just going to set this up, put our bracket on here with a 90-degree magnetic angle. Come on. There. Just like that. And we'll tack her up in place. Do the Erie Tackawana. And same thing on this side. Okay, and then we'll take it out, grab our next tab. I'm going to grab a bolt, a bearing, and the other tab, put it on the other side, kind of push them together loosely, and we'll put our angle bracket back up here. Going to go tacky and tacky, and then we pull the bearing out before it gets hot. It's that simple. Take our angle and we'll go do the other side. Tacky. Tacky. Here. There we go. Okay, it's that simple. All right, let's put our helmet on. I made some shims that are roughly the same diameter as the bearing that we're going to drop in here to make sure we maintain the same measurement as our bearing. So if we get any heat distortion, our bearing will still fit. This side, do the same thing. Now what we've got going on here is the heat distortion is pulling the tabs away from each other, so when I tighten them up, they'll pull back in. Now let's go do this side now. Stop it. What is that one? Make it a little easier to get into. Okay, there's one down, 2 more to go. Alright y'all, anyway, that's it for the day. We got these welded up. I'll take you over and show you one more time. Let me get you flipped around here. So anyway, here we are. We're all welded up here. Got beads down in there, here. These are all welded. They've still got, still got to do a little grinding. We still got a little slag here and there we got to take off, clean up a few edges kind of here and there. But they're all done. All I've got to do now is stick the bolt in them, put the bearing and a nut on this side, clean them up real good, and these will be done for now. What we're going to do is we're going to use them as they are, see if we need to make any adjustments or redo anything, change anything, see what we got to do. But these are done for now anyway. So that's it for the day. I'm going to go in, fix some supper, hang out, chill, probably edit this video that I'm filming now. Talked to Danny a little bit ago. Long story short, the first guy that he was going to use to weld up the bell housing, for whatever reason, didn't do it. Don't know why. Didn't ask questions. So he went over and picked it up and took it to another buddy of his, and he said he'll have it done tomorrow. So Danny's getting that done for us. So we've got these done more or less for now. I probably need to spend maybe 20-30 minutes with a flat disc cleaning up a few odds and ends, bolt the wheels on. They'll be done. They'll be usable. Then at that point, we're going to work on getting the car put back together. So hopefully we'll get to start that maybe tomorrow. We'll see what happens when the time comes. I've also got to do a water pump on this truck, and if I don't do it one evening this week, I'll probably do that Saturday morning. Get a water pump put on there for him because his is leaking, so that we can get him up and going again. But anyway, y'all have a great evening. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. We did a little something different today in this video. Hopefully you guys found it enjoyable. I'm looking forward to getting to use these things and start doing some setup work on this, because that's where, literally where the rubber meets the road, or the rubber meets the track, is in the setup work. That's where we find our speed. So that's what I'm excited for that. That when we get to that point, we're really kind of doing into we're getting really close. There, how's that? So anyway, but I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share this with your friends. Let people know about us. Hope we'll get some more things going here shortly. I've got another project coming, kind of along the same lines as the setup plates. It's got to do with setup work, shocks, springs. So I've got that coming. I'm waiting on material for it. So once we get all the material here, we'll get started on that. But right now, we've got to have that done before we can finish the race car. But let's at least get the driveline done, get it so that it runs. We don't have any issues with it, and we'll get her going. So guys, again, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I greatly appreciate it. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. It was, like I said, it was a little something different this time. But like I said, don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends. Tell people about us. Tell them that you're having a good time here. You think it's pretty interesting, and you want to hang out here some more. So I do appreciate it. Thank you very much, and y'all have a great evening.